Hey guys, Miguel again with In Plain Sight Security and Readiness. This video here, I'm going to go over my top 10 SHTF shit hits the fan survival skills. Now for me, there's 10 crucial skills that everyone needs to possess if they want to be ready when the shit hits the fan. I have another video, what is SHTF, I made about what the shit, when the shit hits the fan, what do you think is going to be? Well, I hear all the time, there's several different scenarios, but pretty much me in particular, I think these top 10 skills, especially if you are like a doomsday prepper, you are preparing for something in particular, or you just, let's say you just started getting into this and you want to, at least get a base for what you would need in an SHTF situation to survive. And again, this is pretty much Barney style. Keep it simple, stupid. And I'm going to break it down. And it's, a lot of it's common sense, but I'm going to go over it and let you know what my, top 10 survival skills for when shit hits the fan. Okay. Number one is water purification. Like I said, your body is made up of about 50 to 60% water. I mean, there's so much water in your body. I mean, your tissues are filled with your skin. You name it, your body has water in it. And it's probably one of the essentials to survival, pretty much one of the key essentials, because at most, you can go up to 3 days during, in a practical environment, 3 days without water. I'm going to tell you right now, after one, you're going to be dying. Especially if you're overexerting yourself. After 1 day, it's going to be painful. And that's where, for me, water purification was my first tip, because not only do you need to know where to find water, but you need to be able to purify it and you need safe drinking water. At the end of the day, that's what you need. Because now then you're just going to kill yourself. You're going to drink one of the bad diseases and bacteria in the water. And once you do that, if you ever seen that show Naked and Afraid, and you see some of the guys and they get those stomach bugs where they were just drinking unfiltered water and they just break down, and only takes like a day or two before they are all messed up. So, number one, water purification. Number two, you got to produce fire. Fire is another one of the top, the 5 elements of survival. You got to be able to produce fire. You have to be able to boil water. Fire will help keep insects away. You will need it to cook your food. Also, you will need it for light during the night. Also, you might need it to signal someone for an emergency rescue. You name it, fire. You can use it to sanitize stuff. I mean, there's a lot of things you can do with fire. You can use the fire and the smoke to smoke out animals during hunting. I mean, there's several different things for fire. I can go on and on with fire. I mean, you learn how to use a magnesium striker. Buy yourself one. learn how to use shavings and get that ember going, and how to start a fire. Just a fire alone, you'd be surprised how many people can't even do a bonfire or start a charcoal grill. And if I'm talking like you're one of them, I'm sorry. But a lot of people don't. At some point I did not either. But learn how to produce fire and make a fire, make a bonfire, anything, because you're gonna need it. Especially if you live in a cold climate where its temperature changes, you're going to need that heat. So, 3, sorry, hunting. I'm going to say hunting slash fishing. Or even keep it whatever way, food gathering. But I'm going to label as hunting. If you're going to need some kind of protein. I mean, even if you're just eating bugs, you have to hunt the bugs down. You have to go hunting for it. You know, if you're going to go for big game, small game, grouse, pheasant, you know, turkey, ducks, deer, you know, you name it. You can't just show up and think you're going to catch something. You got to learn how to track animals. You got to learn what their droppings look like. What kind of tracks do they leave? You know, their behaviors. You know, for example, deer. Deer, the male, the buck, will do scrapes on trees. He'll rub his glands on branches. He'll make a little area called the buck scrape, and he'll pee in it, and he'll leave droppings in it, marking his territory. So once you see that, you know the buck is in heat, and the does are probably in heat. It's mating season, and there's a good chance he's going to return to that to see if any does urinated there, because they can smell that stuff. That type of thing you learn when you're a hunter. So learn how to hunt. Same thing with fishing. If you never fished before, don't expect to throw a hook in the water and catch a fish. If you don't know what fish eat, then how in the hell are you going to catch a fish? You know, if you don't know how to build a net, any kind of trap, you're not going to catch a fish. So don't think it's easy. Just because you see it online or you see it in the TV, people catching bass and fish and all, like making it look easy, it's not. It takes a lot of experience, a lot of skill to do this stuff. And also, knowing what you can eat. So, hunting. That's number 3. Number 4. Because eventually, the cans, the food that you saved up is going to run out. And you're going to have to grow your own food. I mean, great, yeah, you can hunt as much as you want, but you can't just live off of protein. You're going to need some kind of carbs. So, my 4th trade or skill would be agriculture, or I consider agriculture pretty much farming, raising crops. And I'm not talking about just planting a seed in the ground and wow, it's going to grow. I'm talking about making compost, actually knowing how to water, you know, about soil, the different levels of, soil and if it has too much this or that, the lime levels, stuff like that, you know, in the soil, sulfur, you name it, you know, how to fertilize. All that is agriculture, is farming, and that's how you grow crops. Me, I took up a little hobby. One of the places I lived at, I made a vegetable garden, and at first I failed. You know, insects were eating my stuff. My soil isn't at the right levels it's supposed to be at. I was using the wrong soil. You know, it's a ton of stuff. But eventually, you know, I built a pretty decent, you know, garden, and then it flourished, and I did really, really good, you know. And I learned what crops grow fast and what don't. You know, what grow in the spring and what grow in the fall. That's important, especially depending on where you live. You got to know this stuff. And that's all agricultural. So, number 5. Cooking. And I know a lot of people laugh. Most people don't know how to do this. But if you don't know how to cook, you're going to eat raw meat and you're going to get yourself sick. And then you're going to die. So, you got to be able to cook. Take up grilling. Grill on charcoal. Me, I would never disgrace myself, by cooking on propane. If I offended you, I'm sorry. You offended yourself by using propane. But I only cook on charcoal, and I love it, and it's great. And it's very important. You know, like some vegetables you have to cook. Not everything vegetable, you know, tastes good raw. So, yeah, definitely learn how to cook, because you can get sick too off of eating certain vegetables raw and stuff like that too. So, yeah, definitely learn how to cook. It's one of those you don't never hear about. You never hear about it being a skill, but it's a fucking skill. Okay, And you need to know how to cook, whether it's a deer or a fucking cat, because you're fucking starving, you know. And with that, it's still a part of it, but field dressing. If you kill something, you got to be able to field dress it, and that's cooking. You got to take the guts out, you got to take the skin off, you know, you got to be able to chop it apart, know what parts are what parts are edible, what are not. Again, if you've cooked anything, you know what you can eat and what you can't. So, cooking, number 5. Number 6, self-defense. You got to be able to defend yourself. Hands down, whether it be with weapons, with your hands, whatnot. You got to be able to defend yourself, your property, where you're at. You know, set up a perimeter, a defensive perimeter. You know, if you're, you know, have a place, a location. You know, set up countermeasures. You know, booby traps, whatever. You know, you got to find a way, and you know, you got to know tactics to defend yourself and defend your property or your home, whatever you want to call it, your camp. So, self-defense. Now, this next one, a lot of people would consider it self-defense, but I look at it as something different, because to me it's a totally different skill. And that's my number 7 one, which is marksmanship. When I was in the Marines, man, I knew guys that were awesome at pugil sticks and going hand-to-hand combat, really good at boxing, all that stuff. But then when we went to the rifle range, they couldn't hit shit. You know, they could throw a rock at the ground and still miss. That's how fucking horrible they were. But, you know, it's one of those things you really got to work on. Even then, you know, as bad as they were, still were able to pass the qualifications to go on to become a Marine. You know, you got to qualify with a rifle to become a Marine. Pretty much any boot camp, you got to qualify with a rifle. So, and like I said, you know, shooting a gun, shooting a bow and arrow, crossbow, slingshot, it's all marksmanship. And it's totally different than hand-to-hand combat or dealing with a weapon. Because pretty much, you know, marksmanship is throwing a projectile. So, that's a skill. That's not something that, you know, you just pick up a gun and you're going to hunt deer and you're going to take down a deer, or you're going to, you know, take down a person with that gun. One thing, you got to learn how to shoot the gun. You know, and that's all marksmanship. So, and it's a skill. It is definitely a skill. And not, you know, you just don't, you know, pick that up. So, number 8, construction. You got to learn how to build something. And what I mean by that, a shelter. You know, you may not be able to hunker down somewhere. You might need to, you know, build a shelter. Might have to do a lean-to or, you know, something in order to keep warm. You know, you may need to build a barricade, you know, to keep you in and keep people out. Say you're in a cave or something like that, you know, or, you know, a door. Maybe you may need to be able to, in order to have a water supply readily and have more water, build a dam. You know, some kind of engineering, just something. You know, you got to be able to swing a hammer, use a screwdriver, something, because at some point you may need to fix something or you may need to build something. So, it wouldn't hurt to go to Home Depot and find out what a hammer is and what are certain tools, a saw. I'm not talking about electrical and a hand saw. You know, something. Learn how to use, you know, very, you know, primitive tools, I guess you would say. Certain people would say. So, learn about wood, the different types of wood and stuff like that would help too. So, my number 9 skill is first aid. You know, you got to be able to heal yourself. And it'd be nice if you can heal other people. Also, you should be able to know the symptoms of certain sicknesses. You know, and how to remedy that. Learn how to use things in a first aid kit. Learn what medicine works with other stuff. This is crucial because at some point you are going to get sick, especially in a very, very long term scenario where you're going to be on your own. You're going to need to know this stuff. You need to know what medicines to use to heal yourself. So definitely first aid or medicine or medical. You got to be able to patch up a wound. I'm not saying you may need to, you can learn how to suture yourself or use staple gun or whatever to staple a wound, but at least know how to bandage it, cover it up, know if it's getting infected. Very minimal stuff that every household should know. At minimum, you should know. And it's good, even in everyday life, to know when someone's going into a heart attack, when someone's having a seizure, what to do. It's just overall, even forget that I'm talking about SHTF scenario. Just in general, having that, it's good to go. And then number 10, another one of those you never hear about, not too many people talk about. You hear a lot of people say compasses and maps, but you never hear them necessarily talk about navigation. Because you can have a compass, you can have a fucking map, but if you don't know how to read it, what's the use of having it? If you don't know which way is north and which way is south, also, like I said, you got to be able to read a map, So navigation for me is very crucial, especially if you're going to and from somewhere. Let's say you have a bug out location and maybe you bugged out late, or maybe, there's no way for you to get there from car. GPS isn't working. Now what? And you got to hump it on foot. And knowing how to navigate to where you're going is going to help. Especially if you're just going in circles. Imagine you only need to walk an hour away, but then next you know that 1 hour turned into like 6 hours because you're just working in circles. Next you know you're frustrated, you're tired, you're fatigued, and you don't know what the hell to do. So definitely navigation. Definitely will help you out in the SHTF situation. So those are my top 10. Hope you like my video. Guys, please do me a favor, subscribe to my channel if you're liking my videos. Give me a comment. Let me know how you feel about some of the videos I'm making. If there's anything you want me to talk about, let me know. But yeah, just subscribe, like, and share my videos. Also, I'm on Instagram. You can follow me on Instagram. I usually have a little tip of the day on Instagram. So a lot of good information on Instagram as well. So I'll leave a link on the post here in the subject of the video. So guys, thanks for watching. Again, be humble, stay alert, and always be ready. Take care, guys.